Suppose a person is practicing vipassana meditation and he goes through different stages of vipassana knowledge one by one, and when his vipassana meditation becomes mature, then a type of consciousness arises in his mind. That consciousness he has never experienced before. Now we have different types of consciousness. We experience different types of consciousness. Sometimes wholesome consciousness, sometimes unwholesome consciousness. But that consciousness that arises at the moment of enlightenment is a special kind of consciousness, and that consciousness he has never experienced before. So that consciousness is called Magga, M-A-G-G-A. Magga is translated as path. So it is called path consciousness. When that consciousness arises, that consciousness takes Nibbāna as object. And it is that Magga consciousness that eradicates the mental defilements. So what we mean by enlightenment is that arising of Magga consciousness, and Magga consciousness taking Nibbāna as object, and Magga consciousness eradicating mental defilements. That is what we call enlightenment. So what constitutes enlightenment? What is enlightenment? Three things in enlightenment.
You have to do vipassana meditation.
Arising of path consciousness.
Path consciousness.
That is one element of enlightenment. And the second one is that path consciousness taking Nibbāna as object. That is another element. And then the third one is that consciousness eradicating mental defilements. And eradicating means destroying totally. So the mental defilements eradicated will never arise again in that person. So that is what we call enlightenment. So in order for the path consciousness to arise, there must be Nibbāna, because path consciousness takes Nibbāna as object. Object means something you hold on to, your consciousness holds on to. Now, this is a microphone. I am looking at the microphone, and there is seeing in me, right? So this microphone is the object of my seeing. So this is called an object. Now you are hearing my voice. My voice is the object of your hearing. And you think of something, and then that thing in your mind is the object of your thinking. Now you know what object is. So path consciousness takes Nibbāna as object, that cessation of dukkha as object. If there were no Nibbāna, there can be no Magga consciousness, because Magga consciousness always takes Nibbāna as object. So Nibbāna serves as object for Magga Citta to arise, and it is the Magga Citta that eradicates the mental defilements. So here Nibbāna is described as cessation of suffering, means it is the cause of cessation of suffering. Cause means not producing something, but serving as a condition, serving as a cause for Magga consciousness to eradicate. So you understand this? If there were no Nibbāna, Magga Citta, Magga consciousness cannot arise. right? Because Magga consciousness must take Nibbāna as object. Since without Nibbāna, Magga Citta cannot arise, there can be no eradication of mental defilements without Nibbāna. Although it is not Nibbāna that eradicates mental defilements. It is the Magga consciousness that eradicates mental defilements. You understand? Okay. Since Nibbāna serves as the object for Magga Citta that eradicates mental defilements, that gets free from mental defilements and so on, Nibbāna is said to be a cause or condition for the cessation of dukkha. So when we say that the third noble truth is a cessation of dukkha, we mean Nibbāna is the third noble truth. And many people think that Nibbāna is a place to go to. Sometimes people say, or even in the books, it is said that somebody goes to Nibbāna or somebody reaches Nibbāna. And these are not exact statements, these are figurative speech. Nibbāna is not a place to reach. There is no such place as Nibbāna. Now, you know that there are 31 planes of existence. Human plane, plane of celestial beings and so on. So altogether there are 31. But Nibbāna is not one of these 31 planes. Nibbāna is beyond those planes. And Nibbāna, we cannot say where Nibbāna is, because it has no place. It has no form, no shape, no color. It is just a peaceful state. Peaceful state, free from both mind and matter, free from mental defilements, free from 5 aggregates, and so free from dukkha. So it is just a state. And when we say somebody reaches Nibbāna, we mean just that person takes Nibbāna as object for his consciousness. When a person takes Nibbāna as object, take Nibbāna, sees Nibbāna directly, then he is said to attain Nibbāna. So attainment of Nibbāna means not getting Nibbāna, like getting something. Say you get something and say you attain something. But here, what is meant is your mind takes Nibbāna as object, and that is what we call realizing Nibbāna. So realizing Nibbāna means not making Nibbāna come into being, not producing Nibbāna. Nibbāna is not a product of anything, but just Nibbāna becomes the object of his mind, and that is what we call attainment of Nibbāna.